And welcome back to Stories from the River. This is your host, Charlie Malouf. I'm here with my business partner and our president and COO, Manny Rodrigues. Manny, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie. Happy to be with you today.
I'm happy to be with you. We're wearing our Mission Complete 272 million shirts. So welcome to episode 341 here at Stories from the River. And we're here to talk about a new annual tradition, a fun new annual tradition here at the River.
Welcome to Stories from the River, a show in which we go behind the scenes at Broad River Retail.
We love first-time evers. Manny, how much do we love first-time evers?
We have a thing here about first-time evers, and we love to celebrate them. We love to create them. We love to celebrate them, recognize them, because it shows us the art of the actual. And so I'm so excited to be with you today, Charlie, to talk about this exciting new tradition coming to Broad River Retail.
Yeah, so the new tradition is going to hit on the second Friday of the new year going forward, we hope. So we had a company-wide town hall this past Friday, January 9th, and we had our leaders stationed in remote locations. I happened to be remote because I was traveling. Manny was in the Fort Mill Distribution Center with the Otters. Heather was with the corporate folks in the Fort Mill New River training room. Stacy was at the Flagship Enterprise. We were all around the Broad River region and had all of our people pulled together for almost an impromptu town hall. It was just a celebratory town hall call. And so Manny and I are recording this on Monday, January 12th, and this will publish here this morning on the 13th. Now, why do I say the second Friday of every January moving forward? It is January 9th was our Pioneer Prosperity, our profit sharing payday or a profit sharing payout day. And so it was the day that we were able to pay out to over 600 memory makers. It was about 643 memory makers, over $1.6 million in profit sharing from our success of achieving our goals from 2025. Manny, how's that feel? How's that sound?
It sounds incredible. It feels even more incredible because we know what goes into it. And I couldn't think of a better place to be during that town hall than with our memory makers. Hearing from them first and foremost with the impact of this new tradition. And we know that, we don't set goals that are layups. We don't set these goals that are just easily obtainable. It takes what it takes. It takes everyone coming together. I love the phrase retail. Retail's a team sport, and we get to do this together. And so having that number in mind, 272, going after it with all of our departments, galvanized about the number to make it happen, to then sit there and celebrate with our folks on this new tradition and to see the impact that it has on all those memory makers who have been with us. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see it all come together, all that effort, all that energy, really aligning on that great new tradition, which is the Pioneer Prosperity, the Pioneer Profit Sharing Day. So it was awesome. It was a really memorable day. It was great hearing from our folks. How did it feel? How did it feel for you, Charlie? You were traveling. You had some exciting travel that day. You're several hours behind us. How did it feel to you?
Yeah, I was in Arizona for the Fiesta Bowl. I watched the Ole Miss Miami game, and my cousin was with me. He had flown in from Tampa, and I had some other cousins and friends there. I was 2 hours behind because Arizona doesn't recognize daylight saving time. However, I wanted to be with our folks, but the game was the night before, so we got up early, and it was awesome to see you guys, with all of our people. We said, hey, when will all the numbers be tallied up? Okay, got it. When will this go into people's paychecks? Okay, got it. All right. And sometimes people get access or see the funds a day or so early, but we said we want, when it goes into their paychecks, we want to have a day just to get everyone together and celebrate. Because otherwise it's just like a direct deposit, you get it and you just kind of move on. And this was really significant. And so let's go back to let's tell the story a little bit of how we got here. Okay, so we started this big, thriving, audacious goal. Matter of fact, Manny, you can go back to 2019 when we had a company-wide goal for the month of Moneyball in November, and we paid all of our memory makers. Our goal was to get $25 million that particular month, and $250 went to everyone. And so we did that. It was a kind of a company goal for everyone for that year. Then kind of COVID hit, and our year to thrive, we brought out a big, thriving, audacious goal. We called it our B tag, and we showed the journey. And so we did that in 2022, and I think we hit it, if I recall correctly, to some degree in 2022. And then we put it again in 23. We went, it wasn't a goal. We talked about our industry suffered some subtle declines in 23 and 24, but the team really wanted us to kind of continue having a goal out there. And so we've had it out there. The exciting thing about 2025, there's a lot of exciting things about it. Number one, in the past we've had offense versus defense. Written sales versus delivered sales, and that's when you had these lopsided supply chains. And hey, if ops does this or sales support does this, they get something, or if retail does this, they get something. Here we said, listen, we're going to base it off of our delivered sales. But you have to write it to deliver it because it's kind of a normalized supply chain year. Although I want to get to that. We'll put a pin in that and come back to that in a second. But it was because in the previous episode, Tim Klaus and I talked about what supply chain brought to it. But we said, listen, this is year one of a new 6-year vision. And we shared that with our leadership team at the beginning of the year. And we said, listen, our financial budget, we're going to set it at like 247, 248. And then a plus 10% is going to be at 272. Show them the trophy, Manny, the 272 trophy you got right there with you.
There we go.
That's right. So we've been locked in on this $272 million number all year, but it started, so there's a little bit of a step up, right? So at 260 ops, because ops doesn't really have the performance bonuses that everyone at retail gets access to. Everyone on the retail performance team gets access to different monthly bonuses or tentpole contests or quarterly bonuses or annual bonuses, jackpots, etc. So he said, hey, at 260, which is in between our financial budget and our retail budget goal, at 260, it's the first unlock for ops. At 264, there's a step up for everyone who's not in retail performance. At 268, there's another step up bonus. And then at 272, that gets unlocked for all of retail. Now, that's a really important number. So the other exciting thing about 2025, I think, is two. It's one, that we needed to achieve this plus 10% year because we need to say that we can honor a promise because our goal is to grow 12% compounded annually over the next 6 years to get to double our company's revenues by the end of 2030 from where we started, at roughly 250 million to go to 500 million. So we're on this 6-year journey. So we got to hit year one. And then the other part is this unlock for everyone at retail. And then the other thing is it was the largest payout by a country mile to pay out over 1.6 million in profit sharing. We didn't call it a bonus. We call it profit sharing because, it's not just writing the sales and delivering the sales. It's doing it at a profitable manner. And we knew that if we could do those two kind of levers, everyone else would get access and we'd control our expenses along the way. That really unlocks our profit. Those are the two big profit levers, revenues and then selling them at our secret sauce level. So massive payout number. And I'm super, super joyful and proud of that number and really happy for our team because, over 640 memory makers got paid.
Yep, they sure did. Yeah, Charlie, it's so important to go back and understand the history of this. And you do, no one does a better job than you of kind of walking us through history here of where we've been, what we've learned. And so, yes, we've had things like this in the past. We've tinkered with it. We've tried it in varying degrees of success. We've learned along the way. We've been open to it. And this year, last year now, 2025, as we put this year one of a new journey, right? A new path that we now set out to embark on, it's really important. It was really important that we accomplished several things. One, that we got everyone galvanized around the number. And I really commend our leaders, everyone who really took it to heart to say, hey, every single position. If I'm showing up here in Fort Mill and I'm a memory maker and I'm an otter out there and we're unloading some of these 53 footers, if we're prepping and deluxing this product, if we're getting it ready, they all have a hand in how we get to this goal. If I'm in a location, if I'm in Greenville, South Carolina, and I'm in charge of making sure that showroom looks giving our customers the best possible experience, like everyone has. It reminds me of the whole John F. Kennedy and the custodian story of you know what the goal is. Everyone is aligned. They're lockstep on what the goal is, and everyone this year in 2025 was galvanized and locked in on 272, and we got there. We saw the goodness that it brought, but it also got us off and running. Now the cool thing is, okay, what's next? Like we hit this goal, we celebrate it, we set up this new tradition, but where do we go from here? Like, how do we keep the momentum going?
Yeah. Well, you're talking about when JFK is at NASA in Houston visiting, and he says to the janitor, hey, what are you doing? Because he was kind of sweeping or mopping, and he didn't say I'm sweeping or mopping or I'm cleaning up. After people, goes, I'm helping put a man on the moon. And that's just talking about that communal, tribal, collective effort of we're all trying to achieve a goal together. So you're exactly right. Everyone was locked in. We talked about last week on the pod, Tim and I talked about, listen, we only delivered 129 million for the first 6 months. The first 26 weeks, we were tracking well behind pace. And then we delivered 144 million or 145 million in the last 26 weeks. So that we really cranked it up, and it was really supply chain going in and digging in and saying, hey, how can we accelerate product to our customers faster? How can we create capacity, working with our partners like at Riverstone or Ashley to bring product in, create space in our distribution centers, get rid of the sunset product, create space to bring in new product and bring it in more aggressively than we're shipping product out. And so we delivered more than we wrote by $3 million in Q3. And that really kind of accelerated our deliveries and started taking care of our guests faster, getting customers delivered faster, which is always a net positive. And so we ended up writing not just 270 or delivering not just 272, but 274.27 or 274.3. Why is that important? Because retail got us pretty close. But they were like at 270. They actually didn't write 272. They got just short, but it was great teamwork and collaboration working together, because that extra lanyard that ops and sales support and delivery and supply chain kind of chipped in got us over the edge with 274. So really put us over the edge and set us on this journey saying, hey, we can do this. What more? Let's broaden the aperture. What more can we do? And so we got big goals for 2026. Let's talk about this for a second. A lot of companies might say, hey, you got to be here the whole year to get access to a profit sharing bonus. And we said, listen, to get 100% of it, you got to be here for 11 months out of the year. If we had a date, I think it was February 1st or 7th, and if you start by that date when we did our annual kickoff town hall, hey, as long as you start by that date, you're 100% access to it. So not even 100%, but like 11 out of 12 months. And then we said, listen, if you start after, in mid-February or before later, you're not out of the money. We had about 35 memory makers who started between the beginning of February and by May 1st, who were in at 70%. So we prorated that. And then we had another 70 plus memory makers, 78 or so memory makers who may have started between May 1st and before September 1st, who were in at 30% for their designated level. So as long as you started by September 1st, and worked that time, you were in the profit. You contributed to the year. And so, that was a big part of it too. Like everyone had a role, even regardless of your tenure, even if you just kind of like didn't even work half a year at Broad River, but you came in as a leader or a supporter or an individual contributor, we wanted you to kind of have a role in it. So I like that part of the prorated aspect of it. And then I would tell you, like, to be able to give away 1.6 million in profits means you got to be making profits. And I would go to the core tenets of how we budget, the fiscal disciplines, the fortress balance sheet that we really adhere to and have a lot of pride in, and our fiscal disciplines of controlling our expenses and then looking at that extra contribution margin for revenues we do over and above our budgeted revenues. And then, we talk about spirit of abundance. We talk about mutual prosperity, and it's one thing to talk about it and it could just be words on a wall, but to actually put it into practice and say, no, we're going to make this be real, because a win-win is good, but a win-win-win is much better. And it's a lot more fun when we're all winning together. And when we have the spoils to share and to go around and say, hey, when the company does well, we want you to do well. And, we've done a lot of things to kind of invest back into our memory makers, this year, like with our Lighthouse Fund and with pouring back into our stores and our remodels and our growth, and, increasing our 401k match by 33%, for doing things like that. But this is another one of those things that just kind of, it's the biggest profit sharing bonus we've ever had. And I hope it's only the start. Like, I hope it becomes an annual tradition that we can grow it by 50% or 100% or more in 2026. Because now that people got a taste of it and this confidence of what we can achieve collectively, cumulatively together, like, okay, what's next? Now what? Now let's go slay some big goals.
That's right.
We like to say we're at the base of a mountain. And every year we're at the base of a new mountain. It's 0-0, right?
We are. Yeah, we are. There's so much goodness there, Charlie. Let me first say this. Thank you. Thank you for having a heart to give back. I know that you do. And I know that you are so excited that this is one of our probably most proud first time evers, that we get to do this. We get to give memory $1.6 million back to our teams. Like, that's incredible. So thanks for having a heart for that, because we don't have to. We don't have to do that, but we want to. We really want to do that. I also just want to highlight a couple more things that you just said that really resonate this year one on this journey. We have the best retail performance team in the industry. So if you're looking for a retail career in leadership or in sales and retail performance, like, give us a shout. Give us a shout. We'd love to have you be additive to what we're doing here. With that, we have this, the way we set this up this year, the way the game was set up is that retail had an unlock. Ops, to your point, we are a performance-based company. The denominator here is performance. And so ops does not have the same performance programs that are retail. So they get an earlier step into the program, into the profit sharing. But at 272, it unlocks everyone. It unlocks retail. And the cool thing was retail never gave up. Retail performance never gave up, but you call balls and strikes, they got to 270 million. But isn't it cool to see that our ops team, that our supply chain team, that everyone rallied around saying, no one's being left behind. We are going to make sure we're going to open up Mondays. We're going to partner with the best 3PL and Riverstone Logistics to make sure that our customers, that we get this product in from Ashley, the best furniture company to ever exist. We're going to get this product to her faster, and we're going to make sure that everyone participates in this profit sharing bonus program year one. I think of the learnings. I think of what that meant to retail. We will see the impacts of that in 2026. I know that this retail performance team, they're going to go get it done this year. We're going to talk about that here in a bit. They're going to go get it done this year. They're going to put the strain on our ops teams, and we can't wait for it. We cannot wait for it because we will figure it out, because there's so many things that have to happen. You mentioned, there's so much knowledge in what you just said. We got to have clean racks in order to receive that product in order to move it faster. That means making sure that we're really, really good on inventory, on Sunset product, on Project Dredge. There's so much that goes into this. And I'll just leave you with this one thing that you mentioned at the end around stewardship and so much that I've learned from you on how to steward well. I was in the car this weekend with John Wells. We had to go to Dick's Sporting Goods, so shout out to Dick's Sporting Goods, to pick up some athletic stuff for school. And we started talking about business. We started talking about starting up businesses, things that he's interested in. But I reminded him of to whom the fact that we were able to have that conversation about starting a business together, because it's important to learn, to whom much is given, much is required. Mm-hmm. And Charlie, I go back to that and say, again, thank you. Thank you for a heart that heeds that call, every day. We're going to go look for that amazing equation that is, it's a win-win-win, and celebrate that with all of our memory makers, and then not stop with that. keep it going. Like let's make it bigger and better in 26. I know you're up for it. I'm up for it. So thank you for the leadership. Thank you for the vision and getting this that impacts so many memory makers here and across all the states in which we do business.
Not much I can add to that. Listen, you heaped a lot of high praise on a lot of people, including me. So thank you for that. I would tell you, like we were talking about earlier, I think we got the best supply chain operations team, best home delivery team. These things don't happen by accident. The best leadership, best executives in the business, and it took that, and really the best culture, right? You just the culture that cares for each other. And it could have been really easy for ops to say, hey, we're good with our bonus. But they didn't just do it to kind of raise it to the next tranche for themselves. They did it because they really wanted to unlock it for retail, for retail performance. That was the goal, and retail wanted to honor those promises. And so it was really kind of working in unison. And our models kind of morphed and iterated over the years. There's a prorated payout if you're not there for the full year. There's the multiple levels, right, and contributions. And there's other things that we're doing, with our tributary program. And we're trying to find ways to give back as the company does well, both in the current year and in the years ahead.
Right.
And, that's like... we didn't inherit a playbook or a template for how to do some of these things. Some of them we had some templates that we kind of were able to follow, but we kind of had to figure some things out. And a lot of it has been, hey, you know what? The more we just kind of invest in our people and watch the company grow and prosper and thrive, that seems to kind of work. That's a model that resonates. And let's keep trying and tinkering with more ideas. And again, it's our version of the great game of business. You mentioned the word game earlier. You kind of gamify it and make it competitive. I think the word you were talking about earlier, the word that was percolating to my mind was meritocracy. Yes. A performance-based business it's not about who you know or who you get in front of or networking. It's not like about nepotism, but it's a meritocracy. Right. And so it's earned every single day. And so we want to reward what's earned. And so when because we have really, I got to go back to, because we have really good fiscal disciplines, because we have really good budgeting processes refined over several years, because we have a very strong balance sheet, because we're privately held, because we're able to make decisions and we don't have to kind of answer to bank debt, and we don't have to answer to a corporate board. We're not trying to make it for each quarter for a publicly held company on Wall Street. We can do some things that might not make sense in the moment, but they make sense for our people, and that's what's most important. That's what gives us joy. That's what holds us accountable to this phrase, mutual prosperity and spirit of abundance. And so we all want to grow. We want to grow ourselves. We want to lead by growing ourselves. We want to grow the right way. We want to take positive steps in growing ourselves. We want to grow the company. And then we want to kind of say, here with transparency, here's what it means. Here's what we're going to do. And so listen, I hope this time next year, I was looking at the calendar, I hope on January 8th, 2027, we are having an even bigger payout. And it's 2.4 million or 3.2 million or $4 million. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be amazing? And so listen, I know you maybe think hashtags are kind of gone away, but I call it hashtag profit sharing payout day or hashtag profit sharing payday is I think what you guys shortened it to. But it was our Pioneer Prosperity. It's like mutual prosperity, but our year to pioneer, our Pioneer Prosperity profit sharing program. And so this was our profit sharing payday. And so new annual tradition, call it our 7th annual town hall that we use to close out our books. We got one more event to close out our books for the previous year, our night of celebrating, our gala that will be this Thursday night here at the Revelry at Camp North End. But Manny, it's exciting. We got to get geared up to go climb the mountain once again. So we got big goals, but I think it inspires you and motivates you to go after these goals, knowing that you feel really good about having achieved the goal that we just completed and where we're going. It feels like we got momentum.
Sure does. Yeah, we definitely have momentum, and it is inspirational. it also comes with responsibility. And so one of the things that I'll just mention is that we also understand the responsibility that comes with these bonuses. And so what we're trying to do, both personally, but also to the collective, our collective group, our collective memory makers, is we're trying to educate. We're trying to give them access to financial investing webinars. We have so many great partners at NFP, at Willis Towers Watson, Fidelity. And so there's so much education. And so we are sending it out. We have a very intentional strategy this year because we don't think this is one and done. We have the momentum. And yes, we look forward to celebrating an even bigger payday this time in 2027. And so we want to make sure that we properly equip our team with those tools on how to budget, how to prepare for retirement. You mentioned we just increased our match, going from 3% dollar for dollar up to 4% dollar for dollar. So we want folks to be healthy, mind, body, spirit. And so we want to make sure that this part of it, that they get the access, that they get the tools, because we know that that's when we get to see the best selves, and they are awesome here helping us continue to grow on this path. So excited for it. Excited about the responsibility, but even more excited about the opportunity to do it together.
Yeah. Well, when we just started our well-being committee, talking about being healthy and getting Easley opened early, getting Spokane opened on time or ahead of schedule. All these things and they'll factor into 2026. So now we're going after 300 million or 310 million, and there's goals and tranches and laddered up levels for us to pay out. It's achieving a goal. It's a part of a journey. It's part of a 6-year journey. So let's kind of recap here. You want to have a good annual goal as a company, and you want to hold yourself accountable. You want to get people rallied behind a goal that's meaningful. It's got meaning in both for individually and collectively as an organization, and it's part of a milestone, a journey. You can see how it ladders up to scale the mountain, because we're essentially going towards a North Star, towards a goal, towards a vision, towards an exciting, compelling future. You got to believe that the future is bright. You got to be a sunrise company. You got to be willing to invest in your people and into your company, your programs, and your systems and your processes, and reinvest and constantly reinvest. And then you got to be able to celebrate those wins when you achieve them. And none of that comes without being healthy financially. And so grow into it, right? Start small, tinker, and be willing to play the long game and play it out over multiple years. And not every year is going to be a hit. But then once you get that momentum, keep growing into that. And we worked really hard to make sure we had the right targets for 2025. Worked really hard to say, listen, we not only it's got to be the right target, we got to make sure that we hit it. So we worked really hard. And what we're trying to do is not easy. We're trying to stretch ourselves. We're not going for 2 to 3 or keeping up with CPI or inflation. We're not going for 2, 3, or 4% growth every year. We're going for double-digit growth. And at our level, it's not easy, but we're here for it. This is what we're geared for. This is what we're wired for. This is what we're made for. And if we're going to give our best, or if we're going to optimize our God-given talents, abilities, potential in our minds, we've got to figure it out. And it's achievable, and we've proved that. And that's what brings great satisfaction. But do it under the framework of, like Jim Collins, shoot bullets first, then fire cannonballs. Calibrate, live within your harvest, work within strong budgeting disciplines, have a really good FP&A, financial planning and analysis framework, good budgeting framework, manage your expenses, and then go attack your goals with fervor and rigor and a collective just ingenuity that kind of figures it out along the way. And you'll be blown away by the exponential results. Might not happen in a year, but it might happen. You might surprise yourself what you can get to in 5 or 6 years. And that's what we're hoping for. So Manny, I hope that we continue to get after it. I'm here for it. I know you're here for it. And have an awesome week. Start to your week. Thanks everyone for joining us here on episode 341, Profit Sharing Payday. We're in season 5 here at Stories from the River, taking a little bit different spin this year with a weekly episode and spotlights. So hope you like the new format. As always, leave us a comment, a like, a subscribe, and we love the feedback. We are always open for business, so feedback is a gift. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening to Stories from the River. To check out more episodes, visit storiesfromtheriver.com. To watch this episode, go to youtube.com/@storiesfromtheriver. Join us again next week, and remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast.